Can you find the beautiful move that finishes this game in just 18 moves? We had with the white pieces here, Daniil Dubov, Super Grandmaster, playing against the chess prodigy Nihal Sarin. This was played in the World Rapid Championships 2022. Let's see what happened. So Daniil kicked off with pawn to d4. d5 on the board, c4, the Queen's Gambit, popularised as an opening by Netflix, of course. And now we see the pawn captured, the Queen's Gambit accepted. Often you see the declined as the most popular variation. And now the knights develop here, and now pawn to e3, preparing to recapture this pawn. And black never holds on to this pawn if they know what they're doing. If you do this, you can start undermining that structure. And no matter how you defend, you've got a problem. This one runs into the pin, and if you try and go with this pawn instead, well, now you're running into new issues after pawn b3. If you capture, we take with check. Queen's coming on that one next. If you don't capture, we're then taking here, still problems, so you just can't hold on to this pawn. So instead, black develops, pushes the pawn, opens up the king's bishop. Now white captures, and c5 now played, so challenging the strong white centre. Now we see castles and pawn to a6. Simple idea to go pawn b5 and then open up this bishop to develop here. And now as I'm drawing on the board, you very often see white go pawn a4, clamp on this square, don't let that space grab. But instead we see queen e2, so this is a common idea in these structures, preparing rook d1 to face off to the black queen, but it allows pawn b5, gives the space, but black is losing time now, pushing pawns, not developing pieces. And we don't see the pawn kicking on further, by the way, because now you take the tension off this central pawn. And so after the bishop drops back, there's e4 coming as I've shown. White's going to set up a big centre. They'll be in the driving seat, can soon go to e5, kick this knight, get a big attack going against the king. So instead we see captures on d4, but this is a lot of pawn moves. Black is very underdeveloped compared to white, and bang, pawn to a4 tries to take advantage of that, and it's already a really uncomfortable situation for black. So there's a ton of pressure on this pawn which needs dealing with. So you either want to push on with this pawn or take here. Now pushing on would have been the best idea so as not to activate this rook. Now when you run it with the engine, it wants to capture first so that you at least grab a pawn for the worst position, then go b4, try and keep the rook out as mentioned, and okay, white's going to get a big initiative, big attack, big lead in development, but you have grabbed some material. If you can stave it off, you might survive. But you're still giving up the c4 square and the knight is coming. But what we saw in the game was pawn takes on a4, and now bang, the rook activates. The bishop finally develops to castle the king, but now the rook takes here. So now the material is level and white's got this huge attack coming against the black king. So the queen moves away. Now we see the knight come into d2, heading for c4 where it will pick up a tempo on the queen. This knight develops, hits the rook, so it jumps off to the h-file here, looking down at this pawn, and now we see the bishop developing to b7. Technically better there was castling the king, but black's getting scared. This bishop now comes as mentioned, the knight hits c4, the queen drops back, and now we see bishop to d2. The final minor piece is joining the attack, heading for that wonderful diagonal as I'm drawing there. King castles finally, and now bishop c3. Look at these monster bishops raking down the board, and black now blunts out one of those bishops with pawn g6, but more accurate was pawn to h6. Accurate. Pawn to h6, because now you stop the knight from jumping to g5, and you blunt the rook somewhat in a way you don't when the pawn's on g6. What we see in the game is this pawn coming, but now the knight can spring to life, also opens up the queen as we can see, and now here black goes wrong, but it's a very tough position to play. So knight d5 was played to open this bishop, attacks two pieces through the x-ray, but what does white have in store here? An elegant, deadly move. Can you find it? And just while you're looking for that move, shout out to Aim Chess who are sponsoring videos this month. If you want to skyrocket your rating this year, then get on over to Aim Chess, use the code in the description below for a big first month discount. They will take your game data and produce a personalized plan for you. It really is an awesome tool, and I've genuinely fallen in love with it the last couple weeks or so. So do check it out. Now back to this game here. So how did white finish this? On the spot, queen h5, 18 moves, black resigned. Why did they do so? Well, if you capture the queen, of course the most obvious move on the board, then you've got this checkmate with the bishop taking here. Look at this one, creating the mating net, the knight supports the bishop, that's really beautiful. And if you don't take that queen, so after it jumps out here, well, what else to do? Checkmate is threatened here. If you try and make space, well, still this is no good. You deliver mate like this, and coming back here, if instead you try and jump back with the knight to cover the checkmate, well then we can simply chop that one off using the bishop. After a recapture, again we deliver mate. To never miss future epic chess videos, do hit that subscribe button, and if you want to see some of the most phenomenal chess domination I've ever seen in my life, then check out this video on screen. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.